この信頼、決して裏切りません。
What's up, everybody? Soul here with another sort of Convallaria video, and today we're going to be talking about our girl Ayishah. We're going to take a look at what she's got going on in her kit, what makes her appealing, how she can be a benefit to you, and yeah, how's she going to change the game. Without any further ado, let's get right into it. So first, as you can see right here, we're going to be using our website, Billy Game. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Billy, whatever. But this site's fantastic. If you don't know about it, the link will be down in the description. Make sure you go check it out. Our girl Ayishah is coming in here with a fantastic trait called Bright Moon. And so what this does is physical damage is treated as magical damage. And at the start of the battle, you gain the skill Moonlight. And so Moonlight is a fantastic skill where you get to mark somebody, another ally, and she will more or less protect that ally with, through the remainder of the battle. We'll get into that anyways. She gets an assisted defense on the friendly troops with that oath, and so that's that Moonlight in effect there. When you mark somebody, they get the oath. And then within 3 grids at the start of your action, if there is a friendly troop with oath within grids of the range, you gain watch. And so this is all really confusing. I'm going to be frank with you because of the mistranslation, and it's kind of wonky and this, that, and the third. But if you have somebody nearby that's marked with Moonlight, you're going to basically be on duty and you're going to guard that individual. The individual and Ayishah are both going to get a damage buff of 10%, damage reduction of 10%, and then of course you got that assisted cover coming into play in this, that, and the third. And yeah, at the attack and defense attributes are increased by 15%. 40% of your physical defense and magic defense are added to your physical attack value. And in the action, if you have watch, you dispel 2 debuffs from yourself and the friendly troop and restore 80% of Ayishah's physical attack and gain 1 energy. And so what it doesn't say right here, and I've kind of done a little bit of digging, like I said, the translations are rough and whatnot, but that's both Ayishah and her marked target that she's guarding. They're both going to heal 80% of her health, or 80% of her physical attack, and then gain 1 energy, the both of them. Really, really nice there. And then, of course, it says damage from oath and watch effect is increased by 20%, and damage received is reduced to 20%. Reduced by 20% is what I'm sure what it means. But really, really strong ability. She's going to be doing some fantastic things as far as tanking and really helping to mitigate the damage that your allies are taking. She has that block. She's got block enhancement in her kit. We'll talk about that down the line. She's got that assisted cover in her trait right there. And then she's got it to where she's going to do heals and give energy back just for being near them once they are marked. That marked duration, from what I had read, and like I said, the translations are wonky, it seems to stand for the whole battle. And so that's really, really good. Like once you mark a target, that's it. And it is an instant cast. Moving on, let's take a look down here. She starts out with leg slam. We've seen that before. Decent damage, knock back, and then of course the move down. She gets right here. This is King Huey, but we've seen this with Flare. And so what it does, instead of an AoE hit, it's going to heal her pledge, the person she's guarding, along with herself. When you use this ability, that's really, really nice. So it's a physical attack, 2 energy, and then it does, of course, damage, gives attack buff, and heals. Legacy of the Comrade, we've seen this on other characters like Dandelion and such. When an ally dies, they get a heal and some buffs for in exchange. It's a passive ability. Here we go. We got Moonlight Silhouette. So this is an instant. It teleports the target to the target. So that's fantastic right there within itself. Both parties gain damage reduction, healing up, and physical defense 2 and magic defense 2. All effects last for 3 turns. You also gain Moonlight and powerful counter attack. To my knowledge, from what I had read, Moonlight is just a constant. I don't know why it says that right there. Maybe you can change the target. I don't know until I test it. But from what I had read, it's a constant buff, that Moonlight, and once you put it on somebody, they get it all battle. But this is indicating that we're going to be able to pick someone else to have Moonlight. It is what it is. But that powerful counterattack is really interesting. And then lots of really good buffs in there too, of course. Next we got right here, Dawn Moon. The moon rises and the stars disappear. This is an instant. You select a location within a cross range, charge the location, deal 60% AoE damage to all targets within the circle, and apply vulnerability 2 and disarm. That's really, really powerful right there. If you have guard, the damage is increased by 30%. So that doesn't affect the modifier from what I have read from a couple different individuals and things like that. It just is an outright 30% damage buff rather than enhancing the modifier of the skill. That vulnerability 2, it is AoE as far as how it's being affected. That's fantastic because that's a 20% increase to damage received. And then of course that disarm, what that does is it stops enemies from being able to use their normal attack as well as any active skills. That's massive. So they're basically not able to attack and do anything, and that's not even all this skill has. Let's continue. If the skill only hits one enemy, the damage is increased to 120%. So that's really, really nice right there. And then if the target is defeated, the energy consumption and cooldown is refunded and can be triggered up to 1 time per round. So it says if the target is defeated, but what it actually should read as is if a target is defeated. So that includes items and objects. So if you dash in and you hit stuff and you kill it, break it, whatever, this is refunded. From what I have seen, I haven't play tested this myself, of course, but from what I have seen and what I have read, that's how this works. And so you can use this twice in a single turn and still have the ability to cast another skill as you're active. Really, really powerful. This is one of the things, or I'd even say this is the thing that makes Ayishah so popular, is this ability right here. She's got full moon shape as a reaction. When attacked, she recovers 50% of her health, of the physical defense plus magic defense. So interesting wording there, but basically she's going to recover health based on her defense. And up to 3 times per round. She possesses that block. She can block magic attacks, range attacks, and then of course she has that block enhancement tied into it too as well, with a 10% damage reduction added on there. Really good reaction right there. It's going to be hard not to pick that. When being actively attacked with fight back by an enemy at the front and side, the enemy is within the attack range of the normal attack to counter attack, which can cause 70% of the normal attack damage effective once per round. So this is basically just a counter attack. Nothing wrong with this. It just doesn't seem as good as the full moon shape. Right here we see we got a new aura. We got this moon over the mountain as it reads right here. I'm not sure what it will actually be. We'll find out in a couple days from what XD releases what these proper ability titles will be. Regardless, when all the enemies on the field are in the unshakable camp, their attack is increased by 10%. So you can see the translation issue here. I'm sure it means not enemies but allies. Regardless, unshakable, I don't know what that means. We'll figure that out too down the line. You can take a guess because she is stand like the mountain, which is fortitude. So she's supposed to be fortitude. Yeah, regardless. That's what this is. It's a nice new leadership aura, and the course of damage received is reduced by 10%, and their attack defense attributes are increased by an additional 8%. It's a decent, nice aura right there. It's good to have another unique aura. She's got this new passive move right here, this Dawn Moon. When in healthy state, when actively attacking, the damage caused is increased by 30%. And after active attack, the cooldown of all professional skills is reduced by 1 round. And the cooldown reduction effect can be triggered at most once per round. Weird wording yet again, but yeah. She's basically, as long as she's healthy, she's doing the damage, she's getting the damage buff and reducing the cooldown of those abilities when she's attacking. Really good stuff there. And then hers are basic attacks. We got frenzy attack with that life drain. We've seen that on other people. And then we got that attack that dispels. We've seen that on others as well. Decent stuff right there. We've also seen this ability on others, of course not titled Moon Shadow, but it basically is an increased range on those counter attacks and even some damage up. So decent stuff right there. And then this is probably the next ability that's really warranting a lot of attention, and that is Dawn Moon Waxing Moon. We don't know what it'll probably be titled. Cost 3 energy, no cooldown. Physical damage, of course, it'll be applied as magical. Select an enemy within the cross range, charge, and deal damage to them 3 times. Each time, dealing 55% damage. If you have guard, the damage is increased by 30%. Once again, from what I've seen, these damage increases aren't going into the modifier. As in, so that damage doesn't then act as 85% 3 times. It acts as a 30% damage buff. And then the damage modifier is 55% 3 times. Some people might think, oh, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that that damage modifier getting a buff would be way bigger than just your damage getting buffed. That's what I'm seeing. That's the way I'm reading it. And so that's the way this is going to play out and what it does. That charge also, from what I have seen, and once again, I haven't tested this, but from what I have seen and read, is it's not going to be stopped by terrain. So if there is a wall of boxes between you and the target, she's going to dash through that, charge through it, I should say, not dash, and still be able to do what she wants to do, despite that terrain being there and being an issue. Really, really nice stuff there. And that needs to be said about the protected cover, assisting cover here that you're getting with that Moonlight and that Oath. And I really need to go back and talk about Moonlight in particular. It has a unique mechanic in that it gives your ally resolve. And so when your ally is defeated, let's say they're just outside of that cover, there's a pretty big range. In fact, I can pull it up right here. Let's pull it up. Let's get the next tab over. And so here's Moonlight. As you can see, it's got some decent size range right there. It goes out to 3 grids out. And then apparently the height, as it even says it right there, the height is up and down by 8 squares. So it almost completely ignores any and all height differences. There's really not going to be an instance I can think of, probably won't be any, where you're more than 8 squares in height difference than your allies. There's very few instances where that's the case, very few maps. And so she's going to swap places with them at that point. When they take that critical damage and almost die, they will heal 5% immediately when they take that damage. But then they'll also heal that health when she swaps places with them, 50% health at that. And so it says it right here, Oath, which of course says that increased damage resistance. They gain unyielding, which is that resolve. And then once it's triggered, they immediately restore 5% of their health. That's HP percentage. And then Ayishah exchanges positions with her, and then both of them restore 50% of Ayishah's, or 50% HP is what it reads, but yeah, Ayishah and the ally that is marked by Moonlight will both heal 50% of their HP. And then of course she swaps places. That's massive. Really, really cool. Nice mechanic there. Very, very powerful for her as a tank. And so with all that said, let's talk about her rating. And so from what I am seeing and what I have assessed from her abilities, I've compiled it into a list and whatnot. I'm seeing she's got a 0 in physical damage. She's got a 14.5 in tanking, a 5.5 in healing, an 8 in magic damage, a 9.5 in buffs, a 5.5 in debuffs, and a 10 in utility, bringing her total to 53. That's below Coco, but that is still tier 0. That power creep still alive. Every new character we've gotten so far has been tier 0, right up there. And so I think that's the trend. This is the new bar, the new minimum, if you will, as far as their values and what they have in their kit. And she is no different. Now, what makes her an absolute must pull is that ability to increase her own damage. Of course, she's got a lot in that she's healing and giving some energy back and this, that, and the third. But she's got the ability to do some really big instant hits and hit hard. And then let's not forget, this is an Ayishah unit. And so she's going to get the benefit of working with Dandelion, who in my opinion has arguably the best leadership aura in the game, with a flat 20% buff to units that have 3 or more debuffs. And so she's going to absolutely smack things around. She's going to get an act again from Inanna. I mean, she's going to be bonkers. She's got bonkers synergy, bonkers support. She's going to do absolutely big damage and really show us something new in the game, or so I believe. And so I'm excited to play her and see what all that is and what's in store for us. She looks really good. A total ranking of 53, I think might undersell her, or maybe she's overrated. I'm not sure which. That 53 rating is nothing to scoff at. That ability really gives her a lot of power. And then of course that star rating, I do think she needs to be 5 stars. Her trait doesn't allow for her to give energy back and to do the things it needs to do until it's 5 stars. Now, she functions well and still can utilize her abilities to do everything fine as a 1 star. And honestly, the difference between 1 star and 2 star, 3 star, and 4 star really is not notable. It's nothing huge. But once she hits 5 star, that's when she really takes off as a tank, in my opinion. She's able to heal a lot better and able to give that energy back. And then, yeah, she's doing a lot more. That heal per turn, where she's doing 80% of her physical attack, doesn't take effect until 5 stars. So really, really big that she gets 5 stars for that reason, because that's when she really takes off in that way. If you're not using her for a tank and you don't care for it, then that really doesn't matter. She is an absolutely great AoE magic attacker. It's really kind of interesting that they're planning on releasing Nydia, whatever you want to call her, along with Ayishah in the same similar time frame, because they kind of do some of the same as far as their ability to hit AoE wise, but Ayishah does it arguably better because she can hit 1 unit and do just fine, whereas Nydia, she has to hit multiple targets and to really do well, in my opinion. I'm saying that because I just did the whole thing on Nydia, but they dropped a bomb on Ayishah coming out early, and so here we are. I'm doing this now. And I think they did that because Team Meteor didn't do so well. Let me know what you think. Drop down in the comments and talk about it. But yeah, that's my thought. Now, when I'm looking at Tarot, I'll throw up her banner art right here. I see quite a few things. Honestly, if I look at her banner art, I see almost like a collusion. There's a collusion of different tarot cards and meanings that can be seen within this. I see the Sun Tarot. I see the Moon Tarot. So I see multiple tarot cards coming into play here. I see the Fool. She's kind of suspended in air. Suspended over the pool of water reflecting the moon. We see moon imagery not just in the Moon Tarot, we see it in other tarots as well, like the Magician and whatnot. But I see the strongest 2 affinities in the Moon and the Sun. And so it could be a combination of those 2 tarots seen in her banner art, which would make sense because her abilities are, from what we've seen in these poor translations, are like Dawn Moon and things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're playing on the 2 tarot cards here. And you can even kind of see it. And on the right, you've got the moon, and on the left, you've got the sun. And so maybe it is absolutely a collusion of the 2 that we are seeing in the tarot system. And so that is it for me. That is about everything I've got on Ayishah. She is looking fantastic. This is an absolutely smacker of a unit. A lot of people are going to want her. She's really, really powerful, and she's definitely going to hit hard. Is she overhyped? There might be a little bit of that, if you want my honest opinion. I'm definitely going to pull on her and test her, and I'll let you know. I don't think that she's so game-breaking that you just absolutely have to have her like she's been suggested to be, but she's definitely going to be strong. She's definitely a unit that illustrates power creep, and she is a tier 0 unit out the gate. So take that all in, consider it. That's my assessment. I wish you all the best. Let me know down in the comments, what do you think? Is she a must pull? Do you think she's a little bit overhyped? Are you going to skip her? What are you thinking? Do you even like Ayishah units? If you love Ayishah units, I bet she's really killing it for you, because like I said, that aura with Dandelion. Let me know what you think. I want to see it down in the comments. I'll be glad to get back at you too. Thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to my Patreon members. It's because of y'all that I'm going to be able to even make these pulls and pursue this unit, Ayishah. And I'm so excited to do so. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If you feel interested in joining us down below, there's a link to our Patreon. I'd be more than happy to have your support. It really allows me to make the content and to pursue the characters. And then we have a link down there for the Discord as well, where we talk all things sort of Convallaria and then some. So please come join us. We'll be glad to talk there and debate and talk strategy, you name it. And yeah, Good luck to you in all of your adventures in Sword of Convallaria, and I wish you the best. Take it easy, and until next time, bye.